Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, we get some small business tax tips from the top of the ATO, explore the world of social media with a sweet tooth business doing very well, and dig into Ruslan Kogan's online success story and small business tips. Hello, welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. We've got another big show in store today, full of great tax saving and business building tips. But first, let's kick off with news you can use.
Crowdfunding is growing so rapidly, it would give a mountain goat vertigo. After raising $1.5 billion in 2011, crowdfunding platforms collected $2.7 billion in 2012 and are projected to raise $5.1 billion in funding this year. And the majority of these donations are for reward-based projects. That is, people pledging money in return for recognition or product-based rewards, not part ownership. The Pebble Watch showcased the potential of the market when its $100,000 target was met in just 2 hours. The campaign went on to collect over $10 million. There are now over 500 crowdfunding platforms around the world, with a couple of Australian outfits specialising in a local market. So, if you have a popular project that's fumbling for finance, this could be the answer.
Now, cash management is always on the to-do list of small business owners, but among chasing invoices, keeping on top of bills and everything in between, it's easy to get slack tracking tax. Thankfully, we have a pretty helpful and understanding tax office here in Australia. I caught up with the Tax Commissioner to get a rundown of the resources available for small businesses and tax tips for the year ahead. Well, Chris, welcome. You've been in the role 10 months now. What sort of feedback are you getting from small business owners about tax and super?
I think overwhelmingly the feedback I'm getting is that people want to see some change. They want to see some modernisation, so maybe sort of refreshing the way that the tax office interacts with them. It's a little bit surprising to me that the tax office is still in that old-fashioned paradigm of writing letters to people and having call centres all the time.
So what are you going to do? What are your plans?
Well, there's a couple of things we've done already. We've got this new website we've launched, which has enabled us to also launch Small Business Assist, which is an interactive tool. You type in your question, draws on all the information in the website to give you an answer. There's also this after-hour callback service. I thought it was quite odd that if you're a small business and say the shop's shut, the kids are in bed, 8 o'clock at night, you couldn't interact with the tax office. Now you can if you can book a phone call if that Small Business Assist doesn't help. We're about to launch an app for small businesses. There's a lot of YouTube product, a lot of video explanations of things that people don't quite know how to access or where to go. Everyone's used to these apps on their smart device now, and so just click onto that, opens up all sorts of good modern explanations that people want.
Hang on. You're actually acting like us. You're almost acting like a business saying, this is what our customers want, so we have to change.
I think for all too long, the tax office has sat within itself and thought about how it should interact.
Yeah.
What I'm asking my people to do now is put yourself in the shoes of the small business. What is it that they want?
From your experience, though, what are some of the things that we need to get better at that would make, liaising with the tax office a whole lot easier? What are some of the things that we're a bit tardy at that we should be focusing on?
I think just keeping up to date with things, that seems to be the biggest problem that we come across. The largest proportion of outstanding debt does sit with small business.
Yep.
It's just that they maybe haven't got around to doing their quarterly instalment, they maybe haven't got around to making that payment, they sort of worry about it's on their mind. Some of it is also not understanding how much help there is out there.
Yeah.
As I say, this Small Business Assist, the visits that we can have to help you explain.
See, our first human emotion, though, to the tax office tends to be fear. isn't it? If I ring up and ask a question, oh, is that going to alert them that I've got a problem? Or it's getting over that fear, isn't it? To say, okay, they're here to help as well. You don't want to take action against small business owners. You want to help them to make sure they avoid that.
We very much want to work with small businesses. Even if you do find yourself in a bit of a problem, we're not there to shut you down. We're not there to make life harder for you. What we want to do, fess up, come early, we'll work with you and work out some plan to help. Right. We'd much rather focus our attention on the big multinational companies that are sort of not necessarily doing the right thing in the way they operate in Australia. That's where we think there's a better return and more focus should be spent.
Chris, it's terrific the progress the tax office is making. As you say, the help's there. We've got to use it and don't be afraid to do it. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
Coming up next on KBB, we get some social media tips from a local business doing big things in the space. This business tip brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business. Paul, the hot investment tip at the moment is buying property into your superannuation fund.
Absolutely. Self-managed super funds have exploded with people wanting to buy into rural premises, commercial premises and also residential premises.
So why is this a good thing?
It allows for diversification and a degree of control that other investments may not allow for.
Right, so my self-managed super fund could buy my business premises with me as a tenant.
Yes, the advantage of which is that you're renting it off the super fund, so the rents go back to the super fund.
And what steps would I need to take?
Well, it's complex, so you need to get advice through a financial planner, through an accountant, partnering with a banker and also a lawyer.
And how much could I borrow?
Generally, for residential property, it can be up to 80%. For commercial property, it can be up to 70%, but really, it does need to be tailored.
And what about the paperwork?
Well, the paperwork is seamless, and that's why at NAB we ask you to come and see us, because we've got great financial advice and it can be executed quite well through the paperwork.
Terrific. For more information, visit nab.com.au/smallbusiness. Santuro was started in 2006 by Giro Marucci and his wife Kelly after an inspired trip to Madrid. Since then, the business has been fine-tuned and rapidly expanded, and harnessing the power of social media has been central to that. To find out exactly how they've used social channels to better their business, KBB's Alex Brophy grabbed a hot chocolate with Giro.
So you've really built the whole business around the product. That's been central to everything you've done?
Certainly the product, absolutely. You need a core, high quality and authentic product, and we haven't compromised along the way in any shape or form with that. But with that foundation, what we were very focused on was building an experience worth sharing, an experience that you would want to tell your mum, your grandma and your girlfriend about. And certainly just drawing on that Spanish passion for life.
How do you sell that? What does the marketing look like around selling an experience?
I think that's a good question. I think it's not about selling. It's about providing an experience that is worthy of being shared. We operate in the indulgent space. And we're not about a quick coffee in and out, but we're about coming in with your friends, sitting down and sharing and celebrating life.
Okay.
So it's so much more than just building a great product. It's about making sure the service is top-notch, making sure that our designs and our fit-outs are places that draw people in and make them want to stay, and celebrating those little moments.
Now, social media must really lend itself to that. People sharing photos, like you say. In March this year, you had a really good Easter campaign. I think it was almost 100 likes a day you were getting. What was the strategy there?
Sure. Easter, we had a great campaign, and it was quite simple, which was what we find has been the most successful formula for having terrific social engagement campaigns. With this campaign here, we gave away a 3-kilo bunny, which is about the size of your average toddler, and basically by giving away one of these every day, we had mums taking photos of their kids standing alongside their winning bunny and sharing that on Facebook, and that just went viral.
And in terms of giving things away for other small businesses, how important is it to incentivise social media campaigns?
Look, we have 50,000 likes on Facebook, And we haven't achieved that with big marketing budgets or social media and digital departments driving that activation. We've kept it really simple.
So how do you monitor the success of your social campaigns?
When you're on social media, and especially social media like Facebook, you have to be on it. You can't just set and forget your page. So at the very minimum, you want to make sure that if you do put a page, you're on it and monitoring it and responding to your customers' queries and concerns as and when they come up.
So Giro, what are some of your tips for other small businesses entering the social arena?
I'd be keeping it simple. Don't try and overstretch yourself in terms of competitions or promotions, or even worry too much about spending too many Facebook advertisement dollars and so on. I'd be simply looking at what my customer wants to, thinking about what my customer wants, and offering them that. So engaging with them and having a discussion. And that is what is great about social media, is that you can have a one-on-one discussion with your customer, and then they can share that, and they will share that with their friends and family. So that's something that's just fundamental, and that doesn't involve the biggest marketing department.
Coming up next on KBB, we sit down with online entrepreneur Ruslan Kogan to get his tips for businesses battling with and building online operations. This business tip brought to you by Telstra.
So Mark, technology is moving really quickly in the small business space. What's available from you guys?
Telstra developed a fantastic product called DOT, or Digital Office Technology, that manages your end-to-end communication system. Of course, this simplification makes it easier to run your business more efficiently.
So what sort of functionality are we looking at?
It manages your calls, provides a fixed broadband connection, helps you work on the go, takes care of fax and FPOS, and does it all in one simple bill. And it gives you a professional edge with a range of smart calling features such as Virtual Receptionist that automatically answers and directs incoming calls with a customised greeting.
So Mark, how about working on the road? Because it's something we all end up doing these days.
Sure, if you're working on the road, your calls can still reach you. With simultaneous ring and sequential ring, you can set both your landline and mobile to ring at the same time or in a sequence until the call is picked up. With features like this, DOT is helping transform thousands of small businesses.
To find out more, go online and visit telstra.com/dot. Ruslan Kogan is one of the pioneers of online retail in Australia, growing several small businesses into international operations. From selling second-hand golf balls as a 10-year-old to running tech giant Kogan.com, he's an entrepreneur that really knows his stuff. We caught up with the man behind one of the country's fastest growing companies to see what we could learn from his experience.
So Ruslan, you're a startup icon, the man behind arguably Australia's best known online retailer. How did it all begin?
The first venture I did was selling golf balls, where I'd go and collect golf balls that golfers were too lazy to collect. I'd put them in, clean them, put them in egg cartons, and then take them back to the golf course at the weekend and sell them back to the golfers at 50 cents a pop. So, not huge money, not a huge business. It'd make me about 20 or 30 bucks a weekend. But as a 10-year-old, that made you pimper the milk bar. So it was one of my first ventures, and then I'd run a lot of things since then. Like Kogan's my baby now. It's the biggest thing I've ever done. It's my passion, it's what I love doing, and that all started with the rise of online retail.
So there's a similar principle to collecting the golf balls for lazy golfers. You were collecting electronics for lazy consumers.
It's pretty difficult for consumers to import one TV from overseas because of all the freight costs, logistics costs and all of that. What it comes down to, the similarities between the golf balls and the TVs, is seeing an opportunity in the market, seeing a gap that exists and saying, well, hang on a second, I can add value there.
So you've taken that business from scratch 7 years ago and turned it into $300 million revenue last financial year. How have you managed that growth?
When the business started, our community may have had a few thousand people in it after the first year. It's much easier to communicate with a few thousand people and send emails than it is to now where we have over 1.5 million people in our community. The systems, the architecture, getting the deliverability of the emails, sales notifications, all of that on time is a much different proposition. So you have to constantly scale your business and build things for how you think your business is going to be in a year rather than building things for how your business is today.
You've had some very frequent and vocal critics. How do you stay focused and headstrong while you're building a business when there's big industry players cutting you down at every turn?
There's only one critic that I care about in business, and that is our customer. If we can please that critic, then our business is going to grow.
So you've got over 100 staff now and a huge suite of products. What are the key policies and processes that you've got in place to ensure the business runs smoothly?
Well, one of the key policies is to ensure we're frequently communicating with our customers, because as we expand our business, it's very important that our customers are still happy, that we're doing exactly what our customers want us to do. If, no matter how big Kogan gets, no matter how well we source products, manufacture products, sell products, no matter how good our website is, if you take the customers away from our business, we're left with nothing.
Coming up, we answer another of your small business specifics in Ask Kochie.
This segment brought to you by NAB. We see Australian business.
Hi, I'm Marco Renee and welcome to my business, Healthy Lifestyle Club on the Gold Coast. We basically started off as a personal training business and then over time realised that we needed all the experts under the one roof to create the proper health solution. So we put on physiotherapy, dietitian, exercise physiologists, and then we looked at a gym membership to add to our one-on-one services. I suppose being in small business, it makes you realise that the people are your business. The gym equipment, the pieces of equipment I have are really just extra pieces in a room. What makes this business is my clients, is the relationships I have with those clients. I think being a part of this industry is about giving. We've sort of gone out there and created this Men of Business program, which is all about youth at risk. And through that process, I've made wonderful relationships with wonderful like-minded people who own businesses, who want to give back to the community. But for us, it's not about you coming to us and paying us to do some personal training. It's actually you coming to us and wanting to, I suppose, step into our family. I grew up in a small business. My father grew up in a small business, and our number one strategy was always people. If I know I do the right job for you, I know you'll tell people. I know if I do the wrong job for you, you'll also tell people. And knowing that be a wonderful strategy to set our foundation on, we then stepped into Facebook, which was an amazing way for us to portray who we are. The good thing about having such a diverse range of staff is that they can post on all different subjects. So I'll have a staff member who'll post on strength and conditioning. My dietitian will post on nutrition. If there's more information about a great class that we're doing and a picture of who's in it, there seems to be a lot more connection because people like to see other people or like to be a part of a new movement. So a lot of that has created, a good result for us. When you look at going from 90 square metres to, I think, 650 square metres, it is amazing growth. Typical with business, we've had plenty of ups and downs and plenty of challenges along the way. The NAB's been amazing. So every step of our process, we've talked to the NAB and said, okay, well, look, for the next step, we're going to need to make some changes. We're going to need to take on, another 70 squares, and we're going to put in a reception desk, and we're going to put in this. So each of those times we sat down and I suppose built a strategy around how we're going to do it, what's it going to cost us. There's been no stage that John, who is my banker, hasn't supported me from day one in the journey to the end now.
For more information, visit nab.com.au/smallbusiness. This tech tip brought to you by McAfee.
Windows 8 has made it to a lot of our desktops, but it wasn't quite right in some aspects. Well, the new patch, Windows 8.1, is what Windows 8 should have been. Now, it improves your interface, so access to apps is a lot easier. There's a split screen mode, which allows you to have multiple apps running on screen at once at the size that you want them to be on. And there's also a start button in the Windows 7 desktop that makes it a lot easier to access your applications. In addition to that, Windows 8.1 supports ultra-high resolution screens for the new laptops that are coming out with these Retina grade resolutions. In addition, there are some general bug fixes and security fixes, and you can download the new Windows 8.1 upgrade in October.
All right, let's answer some of your questions. And Christy from Facebook has written in saying, a few friends and I started sewing baby things as a social get-together, but now want to turn our hobby into a business. What are the first steps to making this happen? Christy, that's terrific. It's very exciting to do stuff like that. At this stage, it's all about good planning, though. Identify the core business you're going to focus on. Research customers and also any competitors out there and establish a compelling reason why people should buy from you. Now, the best way to cover all your bases is to flesh out a formal business plan, including a genuine profit projection and a timetable and delegation schedule to implement the plan. Even if it's a hobby and you want to turn it into a business, good planning is a must. Now, if you're new to all of this, I'd recommend doing one of the new business courses at your local business enterprise centre. They're terrific. And if you need some help with the digital side of things, a website, an online store, social media, or search engine marketing, drop in for a chat at the KBB Digital team. Now, that's kbbdigital.com.au. Hopefully, that's helpful. We'll see you next time. Next week on KBB, how to make your business completely mobile. Tips for exporting to Asia from the folks at Maton Guitars, and another inspiring Aussie success story.